That is a bug inside my goggles. And I do not even know what to do to get it out. It's behind the first lens. It's actually on the screen, it seems. At least it's going off screen. Please go away, bug. Go away. Off you go. Please leave. First of all, the winning number to the last video was 32. The first 6 people that guessed 32, I'm sending these Bluetooth modules to, and I couldn't have chosen within the first 100 because there's 1,000 comments and people are still guessing numbers, and I couldn't actually load the first 100 comments to see who was in the first 100. So I just chose the first 6 people that guessed the correct number, and it's 32 because there's 32 teeth in the human mouth. So, in light of this situation where now I have product that I actually need to ship to people, and some of them are overseas, and it's just generally an annoyance, and I don't really have the time to pay attention to that stuff, I've come up with a new way to give away stuff, and it's really beneficial to everybody. So the way I came up with is this. Companies that want to advertise on my channel, and I'm okay with them advertising on my channel and telling you guys that they're a good company, they're reputable, they're going to do you right, they can put up a bunch of products that they want to give away. And I will host kind of like a lottery like I did in the last video, and the winners, I will give their account numbers to that retailer and they will just send them the product directly. Now the way this works is that the way this benefits everybody is that I can advertise to you guys and say, these people are giving away stuff on my channel. I don't have to deal with actually shipping anything. The retailers get all of you guys to sign up for accounts on their website or whatever entity that they have, which is their primary benefit because now they have a whole bunch of new accounts, and you guys benefit because you get free stuff, and I benefit because I get more viewers, hopefully, which is always nice. So Piroflip is the first one to jump on this new giveaway scheme that I came up with, and they're giving away 2 sets of motors. These are Hawksky motors, the 2207 and the 2307, 2 excellent motors. In order to win these motors, you need to, number 1, make an account at Piroflip. And in the comment section below, guess a number between 1 and 200 this time. The first 2 people to guess the correct number will win these motors. And in your comment, along with your guess, you have to include your name that you have listed on Piroflip's website on your account. I need that name because they're going to send you the motors directly. I'm not even going to see the motors. And in addition to that, I would also like to ask everybody to please follow Quad Force 1 on Instagram. So Piroflip has a team in DCL, Drone Champions League, and they're going around the world doing a bunch of races, and they did really well in their last race. They actually won the last race, like they killed the last race. And they have a competition also for community interaction and social media interaction. So the team that gets the most social media interaction wins some sort of other prize. So even if you don't have Instagram, don't have anything, all your Instagram accounts, please just follow Quad Force 1 on Instagram. That's the primary way that they're looking at who has the most interaction, and root for them because they're Team USA. The first thing I want to show you guys is these 2 modules here. So one of these is from HGLRC and the other one is from Speedybee. Speedybee is the new is a new entity, a new Chinese entity that is mostly, as far as I can tell, owned by Runcam, or at least Runcam has a big part in it because this was sent to me directly from Runcam. And then this is the HGLRC module, and you might notice that they look very similar, except for the HGLRC has all breakout pins so that you can just directly solder. This one has a connector, which is okay. It also has breakout pin over here that you can directly solder to. Other than that, the board is pretty much laid out the same. The HGLRC has a light on it for you to change your channel. The Speedybee has a bunch of lights here, a bunch of series of lights over here. I haven't used either one because I haven't built anything new in a while because I've just been extremely busy with work, and I really don't have anything that I'm super excited about to build and try and see what I can get out of it. These are both DVR modules. They are also VTXs, if you weren't able to guess. They do have MMCX connectors, which is really nice, although there's a new connector from TBS, which is really cool. Anyways, they both do the same thing. They both record the same quality, the same specs, the same stats. I'm pretty sure they're using the exact same firmware. So you can choose if you want a 30x30 VTX that also has DVR built in. You got some great options now, and you really can't go wrong. But neither one of them will save the file if your battery disconnects. So if your battery disconnects, you're
You just lose that DVR file completely. And now I will show you the new TBS attachment. So there's this age-old debate between MMCX and the UFL connector. I think the UFL connector is a horrible connector for what we use it for these little antennas that we put on them. The MMCX connector is much more solid, much more robust, but it's also not without flaw. The MMCX connector in general is a much larger connector, so you do need to have more space in your frame to, kind of manage the length of the actual connector. The SMA connector, the UFL connector is actually much smaller, much nicer, much easier to deal with, but it falls off and it breaks off and it's annoying. So what TBS has done is magic, come up with an actual solution. This is, we were talking on Facebook the other day about how little innovation there sort of is in our space. Little but a lot, but a little innovation there is. And I'm like, well, a bent piece of wire is literally innovation to us. And again, this is innovation to us. It's 2 screws that hold down a piece that go over the SMA connector, so there's a more solid connection and a solid link between the SMA connector and the VTX. So this pretty much solves every single problem that I had with the SMA connector. I haven't used it yet, and I don't even have a good picture of it, even though I saw it at Piroflip already. But thank you so much for making this TBS. I don't know if they invented it from nothing. I don't know if it existed before, but whatever it is, it's freaking awesome. And I'm pretty sure all the other companies are eventually going to copy it. So the next thing is the Rapidfire Module, which finally, it took me forever to get. It took us forever to get our shipment to ship out. We got a partial shipment, and then we got more, and then shipped them out. It's just a whole bunch of debacle with IRC. Okay, so I finally got it, finally was able to use it. My primary module that I typically use is the Furious V3. And when I took this, so I got this module, and I put it on, and I went out to fly, 1 or 2 flights, and I didn't really notice much difference. I said, yeah, it's a little bit better. It's not that much better. What I was expecting. But then I started taking it to all my usual spots. And then I started to notice that, wow, it is actually significantly better. It's not just a little better. It's not moderately better. It's actually significantly better. I have significantly more confidence in my video signal. And I was not expecting that at all. I really, really was not expecting that. So you can view all of Bardwell's tests because he really does fantastic tests. He does the most thorough tests of any VTX on the market on his channel, which I hugely appreciate. But you can view his and you can view other people's channels about their kind of comparison tests, but it's really hard to kind of tell what's going on. It's really hard to see if one is actually better than the other. He's not flying around in an environment that you are personally particularly familiar with. It's really hard to gauge static and banding and whatnot in the video. And overall, when you look at them, honestly, they all look almost the same. There's like marginal differences between them. But when I started comparing this myself against my previous module, which is it's the most recent Furious module, I definitely noticed a significant improvement in this module. And I really don't even know how, I'm surprised at how positive I am on this product, because I'm very rarely so positive on any product, but I really am enjoying this product. I've used Clearview before. The breakup quality of this is really just like Clearview. I'm pretty sure they're using just about the same technology. And my best way to explain the breakup, if you haven't used Clearview or this module yet, is that you don't get thick banding, you don't get kind of like a flickering of your video, you don't get like a quick static burst or non-static burst, you don't get any of that stuff. You get a very, very gradual video in, video out. Snow, no snow, a little bit of black and white, no black and white. Like, it's very obvious to see what's going on, and you can absolutely tell when your video is getting worse. With my Furious module, you can also tell, you definitely see the static, you definitely see the banding, but sometimes you're just in a really bad area for the module, for the antenna, and you just kind of get blips of static and you don't really know, and you're like, oh, I'm not really behind a tree, why am I getting static? I don't really know. With the Rapidfire module, that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen at all. If you have somewhat clear line of sight, you get somewhat good video signal. If you're behind thick trees, you get crappy video signal. And on top of that, there's this cool RSSI line at the top of the DVR, at the top of the screen, on the OSD thing, which I thought I would turn off, and I don't really like because it's right at the top and it's kind of right in your way. But I actually do like it because I can see exactly where the RSSI is on the range on the signal bar, and I can associate that with the video signal and what's actually going on in the screen. And it just gives me this confidence that I can fly anywhere, and I can fly behind things, and I can test my video signal much easier because I have all this information. Overall, it's a really excellent product. It's not without fault, and the faults I would say that I found so far are that, well, this cover is really nice. I wish it was white. I don't particularly like red. I wish it would match my Fat Shark goggles. But it doesn't have a auto scan feature. I don't know why on earth they omitted the auto scan feature, but I am assuming it's because they really wanted it to work with the Fat Shark buttons, which I don't use anyways. I don't think many people use them anymore anyways. I really don't like this little joystick. I much prefer to have the 3 buttons like on the Furious and the LaForge. I think it's much more functional, much easier to use without looking at it. When I put 2 of these directional antennas, particularly the X-Air on there, the video looked weird. It looked like it was jittery. It looked like the screen was just kind of jittering, and it was kind of not flickering, but it looked more like a flip book. So it made me feel kind of disconnected from the quad. But I had no issues with a directional and a general polarized antenna. I don't know why I had issues with these 2 antennas. I also have issues when I run these 2 antennas on the Furious module. I get really, really thick banding of like black, thick bars running up and down the screen, even when I'm just flying at the beach, like nothing special. So I'm assuming this receiver module is having that same kind of issue. I also know that this module is not compatible with a number of Foxeer cameras, which is weird. But I have linked in the description below that list of cameras that it is not compatible with. So I don't know why they would bother. I mean, I'm not even going to get into it, but I know that Clearview also has an issue with some of those cameras. It's because Foxeer didn't follow some general NTSC or PAL standards, and I don't know why that is, but apparently the most popular one of the most popular cameras, the Micro Aero, is not compatible with this receiver module. You're going to have to use it in the legacy format, the legacy version, which doesn't have the actual rapid fire function as a part of it. Overall, it's a great product. I'm really thankful that they made it because it is really awesome, and it's more reasonable priced than the Clearview module, which I think they're still reworking and revamping. It performs fantastic. It really performs flawless when it works. And I wouldn't say it's required. If you are somebody that flies often and you like good stuff and you like good quality stuff and you like improving the quality, this will probably be a nice step up for you. But if you're kind of moderate and you don't really pay that much attention and you just kind of want to fly, it's definitely not required. In fact, I would recommend one of those $20 modules, like from even Banggood, like the Achilles module with some upgraded firmware. Some guys tell me is like really awesome. I would recommend one of those, or just buy one of these, because the price difference between the Furious and the LaForge and the Rapidfire module is not hugely significant for me to consider one of those over the Rapidfire module, because the performance of the Rapidfire is actually better. Okay, enough of that. So here's the next thing. So this is a craft from Diatone, and the only reason I have it on my video is because it looks like a really nice quad, and I saw it on Andy RC's channel and it looked really, really nice. I mean, the frame looks really nice. It looks really small and light. It's got a really lightweight build. It looks freaking awesome. So Sergio, Piroflip, they actually sent one to him, and I took a look at it and I was really impressed with it, and I really wanted to fly it, really wanted to check it out and see what it was about. But that's kind of where it ends. It just looks nice, and it's not actually that fantastic. I wouldn't recommend it. So first and foremost, Andy said that in his video, he said that he likes the twin blade much more than the tri-blade. I would 110% agree with that. These motors are 1806 motors. I don't know in what world people think that an 1806 motor can swing this prop that's so thick that a 2207 motor has trouble swinging. Of course the twin blade is going to be far better. It's going to have more speed, more control, more everything, and that's exactly what I felt. The tri-blade, while it does work and it does fly, the twin blade has way more speed, way more control, overall a better prop for the motor. And this brings into light the motor prop combination, which is a very, very important thing. Now, the props that I have on these motors are the T-Motor 5143. It is a very light load prop. It is a very, very lightweight prop. It's one of the lowest load props that have been made, so it's a very suitable prop for such a small motor. These are 1806 motors, and I know that people have been running 1806 motors on 5-inch props like 4 years ago, and that was like the thing to do. But nowadays we know a lot better, and the experience of flying this quad even though it weighs 180 grams dry, and with this 650 milliamp battery, it's about 275 grams all up weight. It's still a little bit odd because you don't have the same kind of control. I don't really know what's going on. These things are flying computers. They really should be able to manage stuff no matter what. But when I fly, but just from experience, when I fly a motor that's larger with a 5-inch prop, I feel like it has much better control overall. And what I'm comparing it to is this. This is my Tooth Fairy quad, which has a somewhat similar weight. Overall, the quad weighs about 30 grams more. It also flies very well on the 650 milliamp battery for about a 300 to 310 gram all-up weight. Both of them fly for about 2 minutes with the 650 milliamp battery pretty quickly too. Not like super fast race setting, but I'm really impressed at how much a 650 milliamp battery can hold up. I would say that both of these quads would perform great on an 800 milliamp battery, but overall, this quad is using 2205 motors. It can spin a proper 5-inch prop. This is the Azure 5140, which is an excellent prop for this setup. And it performs fantastic, has great control. I have all the confidence flying this quad. On this quad, I don't have any confidence flying it, and so I tried to tune it and tried to improve it. And the ways I tried to tune and improve it was by, first and foremost, installing the newest Betaflight. It came with 3.3 with a really wonky tune that didn't fly right at all, even with their props that they shipped with. And I just put it to defaults and it was way better. And then I installed 3.4 on it, and it flew much better, of course, because it has defaults. And then I started to tweak the set point and the transition. I had to push the set point up to like 1.25, 1.5, just to get it to feel like it's in control, because it just feels really sluggish when it's down below 1. And then I put the transition at like 0.7. It doesn't really matter as much, but 0.7 what I usually put. And the idle speed of the props, I had to push it up to 7.5% just to maintain control. Now, the experience of flying this quad is very similar to the 1407 5-inch quad that I built a while back. And that thing flew great, and it was really fast and really like agile in an open field environment. But as soon as you started to try to fly around objects and not hit them, then you started to run into problems because it just generally doesn't feel like it's in control. It feels like you can go really fast, but it feels like you're going like 100 miles per hour on a bicycle, like a bicycle with pedals. Not like a motorcycle, like a bicycle with pedals. It feels like you're going 100 miles per hour and you don't have the ability to really control it. Like, it just does what it does because you can't control it. And my best guess at what is actually happening is that the motor is just too small to manage the transition speed and the transition time of the props. Now, the way these things fly is with motor power and motor torque. When you want to execute an action, the motor needs to spin up and spin down very quickly to actually execute what you ask it to do. And I think that when the motor is so small, or in this case, just a little bit narrow, I think that it has an issue managing those transition times and transition speeds, and that equates to something that feels like it's not totally connected to and not totally in control. Now, if you fly it around an open field, you probably won't notice it all. I have been flying, I mean, pretty much testing quads is all I do, so I really test a lot, and I do have something that's pretty much the same thing with bigger motors to compare it against. But that's not where the faults end. So the frame is actually really nice. It really is really nice. It's great feeling carbon. I don't know if it's good quality, but it's great feeling carbon at least. It is a really nice lightweight frame. The arms don't look particularly strong. It's not a design I would particularly do, but they are boomerang arms. They are connected, so they saved on hardware weight there. These aluminum rods that go over the top are also very nice, although they will probably bend the first time you touch a gate. I wouldn't try to race with this quad. I don't think that it'll break too easily because it does weigh so little, and you're probably going to be running an 800 milliamp 4S battery on it max. It does have an XT30 connector, so mind that, and I think they're rightfully putting an XT30 connector on it because you really don't need more than 800 milliamps. You're definitely going to get 2 minutes on an 800 milliamp 4S battery. Even at a race pace, I'm pretty sure you'll get 2 minutes on this quad. They're touting like 11 minutes on a 1300 milliamp, which I wouldn't doubt because it weighs nothing. Anyways, the camera it's using is the Swift. It's an actual Swift. I'm pretty sure it's a Swift 2. The VTX they're using is a genuine Unify, which I love. I love the fact that Diatone does that. They're using a genuine Foxier Lollipop, which is apparently a copy antenna, but whatever. It doesn't come with a receiver. I put a receiver in it. And they made a flight controller for it. They're making their own flight controller for it. It is soft mounted, although you can't see it because it's under tape, but it is soft mounted. And then the ESC is the other thing in question. So when I first took a look at this ESC, I thought it was an Ori 32 ESC. It is not an Ori 32 ESC. It is a Mamba something or other 4-in-1 that Diatone has made themselves. It just happens to look exactly like an Ori 32 ESC. It is not BL Heli 32, it is BL Heli S. And while none of that really matters, the performance of the ESC is awful. It's just awful. The anti-gravity, I jacked it up to like 7.58 and it didn't do anything. It still dips and wobbles when you pump the gas, at least on the version I have. And then after one tumble, I broke the entire stack. They mounted the stack with nylon screws, which I do not recommend. Do not ever use nylon screws to mount your stack. It will always break. So after the first tumble, I broke the stack, and then the next time I flew, it didn't fly really right, and I crashed again, and a motor wire ripped off because the stack just budged. And then I think that one of the FETs burnt out. So the video you've been watching, I've been flying around and the quad's like wobbling and it's like dipping around like crazy because every time I touch the throttle, it goes. It doesn't matter how high I put the anti-gravity, it cannot compensate for a crappy ESC board. So, as usual, Diatone is a Chinese company. They do the Chinese thing where they get it about 80% to 85% there and then they just drop the ball, which in this case I'm pretty sure they're just doing because they're trying to turn a profit. But yeah, they dropped the ball hard on this thing. I wouldn't recommend it because of those faults. I'm not a particular fan of the Sparrow camera, but it's totally fine. The flight controller is perfectly fine. The motors are way too small for the quad, even though it's a super lightweight quad. It will probably fly great on 4-inch props, but it's meant to be a 5-inch prop quad, and I didn't have any 4-inch props to test with, and now it's broken anyway, so I can't even test it. The 4-in-1 ESC is not good. I would not recommend the 4-in-1 ESC. And all that's left is the frame, which is also not fantastic. I mean, they're using these, press nuts? They're using press nuts for the arms here, but they're really, really close to the 4-in-1 ESC, and it wouldn't be impossible to short that board if you break the stack. And I actually had to put some tape over the press nut in the back here so it wouldn't short once I taped the stack down, and that's why it's taped, because I had to tape it down. Anyways, that's that. Overall, I would recommend the Tooth Fairy and your own build over this quad, and I would highly recommend you use at least 2204, not really even 2204. I really recommend minimum of 2205 motors for any 5-inch prop. 2205 is really the absolute minimum I would recommend, even for a super lightweight quad. Even though people love the 2204, the 2205 just performs drastically better just overall. The frame, this Tooth Fairy frame is really designed to be used. It's designed to race and designed to like be functional and repairable. And this frame, while looks pretty and it isn't impossible to work on, it's also not the least problematic frame, and it's kind of like a fancy frame that it's a little wonky. I do know that Piroflip actually, or I think they asked Diatone for a bunch of frames with the 22XX mounting pattern, which would be much better. And I do think it would be a very interesting build because the frame is genuinely a very pretty frame and it looks really nicely designed, even though it has a bunch of flaws. But for daily use and regular use, I would much rather use my own Tooth Fairy that it's like built to be used. It might not be as pretty, it might not be as like, you know, frilly and like nice, but man, it works and it doesn't break that easily. All right, and the last thing I want to talk about is, believe it or not, safety. So, safety glasses. We all build everything, and we constantly have solder splattering all over the place. And I bet you 99.9% of you out there don't use safety glasses when you solder or build anything. And I would tell you that as a dentist, I've worked in the lab in dental school a lot, and I've had a bunch of crap pop in my eyes. So very early on, I started using safety glasses, you know, religiously, and I will always use safety glasses no matter what I do. And these are what I've been using. It's a Harley-Davidson. It just happened to work for my face. It fit my face really well. So I bought a bunch of them. This is what I use in the lab. And this is what I've been using to build and solder. But I work with a couple of dental companies to do consulting. And this is one of the products that I do consulting on, which is a product that I've talked to you guys in the past about. I don't know if, unless you're a new subscriber. These are dental loupes. So they're magnifying glasses that dentists use to be able to see teeth better because teeth are really, really small. In addition to that, they have a light on them and it's hard to see. Actually, you can't see it, but this is a new light that they've designed that I'm working on. I've designed my own light products in the past. But what I want to show you, and the reason I'm showing you all this is because I'm now doing larger surgical cases, and I need to see a larger field rather than just a really tight field, what these magnifiers show me. So I asked them for just some safety glasses because I love their glasses so much. Now, the Harley-Davidson glasses are 16 bucks, and these glasses that they've given me now are $100. But I'm telling you this first and foremost because please use safety glasses, and because this is a really nice pair of safety glasses, or just glasses in general. I've tried all of the military spec glasses and all that stuff. They kind of feel harsh on your face, and you can't wear, I can't wear them all day. These glasses feel like nothing on my head. They are titanium, they have a lifetime warranty, they have nice huge shields. Yeah, that's that. If you're looking for some really nice safety glasses, these are really good, and they have really good prescription inserts as well. The link is in the description below. The company's Q Optics. I don't think this matters to pretty much anybody, but I wanted to mention them because I think everybody should be using safety glasses. Of course, as usual, please floss your teeth, because I don't want to take all the teeth in the world out of people's heads.